leadership development group that is focused on the young generation. He's a career-driven personnel, and he's also a leader. He actually took a specific interest in records and information management, personnel management, and people management. His interest in these areas, or in the areas of records and information management, he aims or hopes to achieve the preservation of indigenous knowledge, knowledge management, corporate governance, records and information security, and also automation of libraries. Mr. Onalo Abraham also has a rich collection of credentials. He currently holds a Master Series certificate from the World Bible School, Texas, USA. He's also a professional member of the Institute of Information Management Institute, and is also an associate professional member of the Integrated Institute of Professional Management. He's also project management essential certified, and also a Lean Six Sigma white belt certified, and he's also an ambassador of Management and Strategic Institute of Pennsylvania in the USA, and he's also a certified operations manager. He's also a project governance and management certificate holder from the Open University of Kent in England, and he's SQL proficient. He also has his fundamental certificate from Sokolern Academy in California in the USA, nano degree in cyber security, and also a nano degree in IoT, that's Internet of Things, from Cisco Academy, California, USA. So that's a very brief profile of our facilitator for tonight. Having done this, I just want to welcome him to take the floor as he delivers the workshop for tonight. Thank you very much, Mr. Halo. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, sir. If I would like to chip in that some persons are finding it difficult to log in. Also, one of my devices is not being allowed in. I don't know if you can help us with that technical issue.
Yes, that'll be sorted out right away. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay, good evening, everybody. So tonight is going to be very, very interactive. All right. So my other device where I should share my slide from hasn't come up yet.
That hasn't come up yet.
No, I'm still on my phone. My PC is not allowed to connect yet. Okay, but in the meantime, okay. Okay, so in the meantime, if we can see my screen, I want to mute and then tell me if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen from my end.
Okay, you can see my screen.
Yes, I believe others can see your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. So for now, while we are sorting out, because some of them, for example, a member of my colleague of mine wants to log in and he's sending me messages now that the Zoom is not opening from his end. So Mr. Geoffrey, please help us with that. Okay, again, I want to say thank you very much for giving me this platform this night, and I'm grateful for it. So, I'll start by way of saying that business is good. We are having incomes, we are having customers, we're having clientels, we're having good reports, we are having very wonderful referrals, we're having great turnovers in our sales, we're having, we have motivated staffs as the case may be. So all these things contribute to business success, business development, expansion, business continuity, and all of that. But most of the time, business owners fail to give keen attention to is in the area of record management and information management. Whatever empire you have built over the time, be it name, a household name, a business, no matter how big, all right, one litigation can come up tomorrow and everything you've built over the time will just go down under your watch, go down straight in the drain. And all you could have done is keep a proper record. Now, when we're talking about record keeping or record management, and our mind are being casted immediately to our financial books. Those are beautiful as well. But then we need to look into other areas of the organization, like legal, all the books that has to do with our SLAs, any other agreement, anything that are legal and their addendums are to be kept properly, just the way we are doing our bookkeeping in the finance, the HR department as well. So what I'm saying as a way of introduction is that records and information management cuts across every, and I mean every aspect of your organization. It doesn't matter how small or how big your organization is. All right. So like we said in the dry run in the afternoon, that if your business today is 10 years old, then your record keeping and record management should be 10 years old. I mean, you should start record management immediately you commence business. So tonight in this training, we are going to be looking and in records. So tonight is to identify the common problems that organizations face in their records management and the best possible solutions. So that this is what we look forward to, obtaining tonight. What are the common problems? There are some problems that people trivialize. I mean, a lot of business owners trivialize them, but then they are big deals to their business success and their business continuity. So we're looking at those problems tonight, and then we'll see how we get into, look at the possible solutions that we can get from all of this. So like I said, this session tonight is going to be quite interactive, all right? It's going to be very, very interactive. So we need all hands on deck as we forge ahead. So we'll be using the chat room to give our opinion, our views, and all of that. So basically, our agenda for tonight is we're going into take it from the introduction to record management. It's going to be a introduction, then us to know what record management is, and then the benefit of record management to our businesses and how we can improve our business with record management. And then we'll look at the common problems. Then number 3 on the list, we'll look at the best practices to curtail every problem that we might encounter in record management and all of that. Then we'll have a Q&A section. Then we'll go into the summary and then conclusion and close for the day. So so we are getting right into the whole thing. Now, like I said in the beginning, that this is going to be all of us are going to be the trainer tonight. So now the next slide says, what is record management? Now, if you can hear me, I want to know if everyone can hear me loud and clear. I want us to, like, if we have three persons who would unmute themselves and tell us what they think what record management is to them as an individual, as a professional, and if you are running a business as a business owner, to you, what is record management? So let's hear from us. Hello.
Sorry, again, I didn't get that.
Okay, now said that as an individual, as a professional, or as a business. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So they said as an individual or as a professional in any field at all, or as a business owner in any industry at all, what to you is record management? Did you get that now?
Yes, please.
All right, then let's hear from you, sir. Your name, sir, and then we go.
Okay, my name is Mahfouz Abubakar.
Right.
Okay, records management simply means the act of collecting, storing, and filing, if I could use the old archaic way of doing it, of records, as files, documentation that has to do with a specific company or industry. So taking in those files and properly safeguarding them, and also making them available when they are needed. That's basically it.
Wow. Thank you very much, Mr. Boniface. Would you like to take on this class?
Please.
Because he just did a very, very wonderful justice to everything that has to do with record management.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. So do we have any other person who would like to contribute, who would like to show us what they understand by what management is? Okay, so if we have as we go on, please use the chat box and then let's have your view. Now, I said record management is a system, okay? Is a system. See my slide, the word system was emphasized by being boldened. It's a system, even private parastatals, and this system starts with of the dynamic life cycle of information, document, and records. And now this whole tasking is essential for ensuring continuity through. So record management, as it were, is a system or should be a system. It should be a system in the sense that you have it in place as a policy, and then you can transfer it to the next generation of staffs in the organization. So which means record management of staff A, system A should not be different from that of staff B, so that we'll have consistency in the delivery of our record management. So which is why it is infused in the organizational culture. It should be in the organizational culture of every organization. I tell you what, management has been in the past in this organization. So which is why you see there are archives or record rooms, how I call it in relation. At the basement, you know, is the last place to attend to, but the is a different one, has given us a different approach to record management. So record management is no longer in the basement. It's at the a little bit of mess that you make in your record management can actually deal it on your business and can take you entirely out of business, especially if you are running SME. All right. Because the big boys out there can still, you know, wave their way around. But then you want to ensure transparency, you want to ensure process and continuity, as it were, then it has to be that the records are across all sectors. All right. So now that is Boniface for giving us that introduction. Now, the RM for record management. So management for the sake of this presentation. So, you know, these are not everything we have for the now underline the word proper record management is to our businesses. All right. So then I want to know that not on this list in this chat box to show us, okay, this is what I believe to be the benefits of proper record management to businesses, to organizations, to institutions, etc. So number one is accountability. Yeah. The moment you were heard the word accountability, we jump right into finance and accounting. Yeah, that is true. But then if you are running a production company, if you're running a manufacturing company, accountability in the sense of the of the integrity of your product. Now, how do we come in the integrity of your product? Say, for example, you started a production company, a production of say if a canned food 10 years ago, and then you had a recipe or you had some measurements that you started with, or even in fact, let's come down to production of bread. You are running a bakery. So you started a bakery business 10 years ago, and then you have some recipe that you use for the various kinds of bread that you have. So now what will help you to maintain the integrity of your product over the time is that you have been able to, over the space of 10 years, have kept a proper record of what your recipes are. And then any improvement you've been making to them, you've recorded them appropriately and have kept them for appropriate use over the time. So even in today, you are able to deliver to the people or to your customers the best of products, even beyond what you did 10 years ago. So when we're talking about ability, we are not just talking about finance and accounting, although those ones are very, very necessary and essential as well. All right, another way is, every organization have the HR department, and every HR department KPIs that are set that are put in place to measure the the deliveries of their employees. Unless these things are documented, and kept appropriate. Then they cannot actually you can okay, can everyone hear me again? I got logged out. I want to know if everybody can hear me. Mr. Izuchukwu.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, please take me to slide 6. Take us to the 6th slide. Thank you. So we're talking about legal, regulatory, and regulatory compliance. Now, okay. Now, when we're talking about your taxing, any type of tax you are doing, with this, be it VAT, CIT, you are dealing with LRS, FIRS. These guys are not coming in to audit your accounts at the end of the accounting year, and then you are sitting down with them and telling them stories. They don't listen to stories. They attend to documents. They attend to your records. They see figures. What they want to see is the figures that tallies. Now tell me, if you do not have in place a proper record management from your accounting sector, then how then are you going to have what it takes for these guys who are coming in blazing hot? You know, one or two of us would have had experiences with auditors before, and we know how strict these guys are. Now, if you do not have, now even when you have your books intact, you are still shaky. Talk more of when you don't even have it. So it helps us to attend to the legal, regulatory, and helps us to be compliant with all of their requirements. Also, risk reduction. If you have a proper record management, you reduce the risk of losing your document or losing your files, either losing it by being burnt or being flooded. Now, the most dangerous part of it is losing your sensitive documents to the wrong hands. You might have a disgruntled staff who would want to deal a great blow on the organization and then decided to take a sensitive document out of the organization and sell it in the dangerous market to your competitor. It can ruin it. Number one, it can ruin the reputation of the company. Number two, you won't be that competitive in the market because your counterpart knows your weak point and then they can deal with you from that aspect. All right, so next one is business continuity. If you want to stay in business, now this one is not far-fetched. Now the thing is, if you want to stay in business, you're sure you want to stay in business, then you need to have a proper record management. All right, so that is what business continuity is all about. You want to remain in business because the business that pays the bills, you need to continue in it. So you have to keep a proper record. Then now we are coming down to operation in the next one, which is effectiveness and efficiency. Every organization, hire hire professionals to help them attend to their core businesses. So you wouldn't want to have your core staffs attending to fighting with your records in your records room when they can actually concentrate fully on their core duties. All right, so it helps our operation department, it helps our staffs to be effective and efficient in the delivery of their core duties. So we'll get into this one later, how we can take away the burdens of managing the records from main staff and then put it on a different department entirely that is not actually very well reckoned with in organizations. So then we look at quality control and assurance. Now this talks about production. If you are in the production department, like we said in the intro, in the explanation or the definition of what record management is, if you are in production, all right, you want to control quality of your deliverables and then ensure or have assurance, give assurance to your clientele or your clients on the integrity of your product, then you have to keep a proper record of your operation, of your production processes. So it helps also in quality controls of our deliverables and efficiency. Now, this is not just for the guys in the production.
Wow.
All right. So we also have it in, if you are in technical, if you are in operation, any part of the services of you have any part of the industry you are tasked with delivering either goods or services to your customers or your clientele. Now, the way you can ensure quality, the way you can control your quality is to have a proper record of your business procedures or your business processes. Now, also knowledge management. Knowledge management helps us in terms of knowing the history of the organizations, knowing the history of a particular product, knowing the history of a particular service of an organization. So this one is hand in hand with quality control and quality assurance. So maybe in the time, in cases of research for some certain area of the organization, then the proper record you kept will help you to have managed the knowledge of the organization, and you'll be able to transfer that knowledge to the next generation of the employees or the staffs of your organizations. All right, moving on. So compliance with National Record Retention Regulation. Now, this is very good. NDPR is sitting on the neck of everybody right now to be compliant with the NDPR policies. So how do you know the NDPR policies if you do not have a proper record keeping? So now, if you are moving your business from Nigeria to another country, you will need to have a proper record management in place so that you can, deliver in that country. All right. By the way, are we having any? Are you getting any background noise from my end? I want to know.
No, sir, I'm not getting any from here.
None.
None, sir.
Okay, thank you. Because the NEPA just took light and then generator is on, so I want to know if it's interfering with the presentation. So, but fine, if it's not coming in, that's good. Okay, so we are talking about compliance with National Record Retention Regulation. If you're moving your product from Nigeria to another country, so what is their retention policies over there? What are the regulations that guide retention policies where you are going? Now, even if your organization, your company is still local, then what are the regulations that we have to adhere to in here? All right. So now the next one is preservation of organizational relevant records for operation. Okay. Now there are records that are necessary that are relevant. Okay, that are relevant now for our organization's day-to-day operation. If these things, for example, if you are working in, say, a customer service, okay, you have your organization is customer service based, and the team in the customer service don't have everything it takes to do their job appropriately, Now, just imagine now, and I want you to imagine one or two of us had either called the customer service of the bank or the customer service of a telecommunication company before. You are having issues on your line, on your SIM card, and then you need a rapid attention. And then you reach out to the customer service, and the customer service doesn't have okay. I don't know, maybe it's my network also. I think if the Zoom kept logging me out. So now I was saying, imagine you call your bank or a telecommunication company, either MTN or Zain and all of that, and you needed the assistant of the customer service, and the customer service is telling you that, okay, sir, I can't attend to you at the moment because the things I need, the records I need to give to you, I actually can't find them now. I don't have the information handy. I don't have the solution to your problem handy. How would you feel? I bet you the next working day, you are going to the bank, you are closing down your account and you're taking your money elsewhere. The same thing with telecommunication company. So what helps the customer service that is on the other hand, that is readily available to attend to everything you're asking, it just becomes like Google. You can just ask them anything as regards that business, and then at the snap of a finger, they can, dispense information, dispense idea that will help you out. That is a benefit of proper record management. Also, now we're running fast here now. So now, cost effectiveness in storage, retrieval and access of information when needed. Okay. Now, if you are running an insurance company, you get loads and loads and loads of documents. And if your head office is in Ikoyi or say VI or say Lekki or Ikeja, all right, or even Magodo, now you are now looking at how much it's going to cost you to facilitate a facility or to rent a facility if you don't have your own facility to house these documents that could be kept elsewhere and you pay lesser money. Now it helps you to make wise economic decision in how you keep your documents. And even if you have your own facility, as you are big and you have your own facility, now you can still put your records outside on a third party and then use the space where you would have kept the document for rent it out to another person and then it for another thing entirely. Like that, you are generating more income for the organization. So it helps in cost effectiveness in storage and not retrieval and access to information when you need them. Also, reduction of space occupied by records. The space that is occupied by records can be used either for another department or can be leased out to another organization entirely. Like today, we're having companies who are coexisting in the same blocks, right? Maybe this organization is decided to go digital in some of the department and some of the spaces in the organization. They don't need them anymore. They can call in another company who is smaller to take that space and then use them. Also, that will generate more income for the organization. The same thing can happen where you are keeping your record rooms. You can convert it to an office or you can convert it into a space you can lease out to another organization while you move your records to an offsite. So it actually reduces the space that are occupied by record. Also, it reduces your operational costs. If you are running an archive in your organization, then you have to have 24/7 power because you need CCTV to monitor your records. It depends on how sensitive your record is and how much of interest you give to security and confidentiality of your documents. So then you can have that. When all these ones are on the company's budget, but then if you move them out of the company to a third party, then the third party will now be the headache of the third party to say keep your document, and you can sleep safe and sound while reducing operational costs. Also, it improves employees' efficiency and productivity. So, like I said in the beginning, that you have your staffs and then you need them to do your core business. You don't want to bother them with record management. You don't want to bother them with record keeping, although they are responsible for safekeeping the records, having the records intact, and while transferring them to the archives. Okay, so but then if you will not have your key staffs on how do we put it now, on managing the records, then it makes them efficient and then they can be more productive in their core business. Also, it supports and protection in case of audit, investigation, and or litigation. We've mentioned that before in the cases you have an audit with LIRS or FIRS. Okay, now safeguard of vital information. There are informations that you don't want it to be common to everybody in the organization. Then proper record keeping will help you to isolate this information from some certain employees who do not have the authorization that is required for them to access this information. For example, I put it to you that in a big organization, the informations that are common to, say, the chairman or the board of trustees of the organizations, I don't think they should be made common to the secretary or the low managers. So proper record keeping or proper record management will help you to isolate this type of vital information from the common knowledge of everybody in the organization and leave them to those who should have access to them. Okay, moving on. Supports management in making an informed decision. For example, the documents that you do not have or the records that you do not need to keep or pay for the storage of them for, say, for over 7 years ago, proper record keeping and maintaining the retention policy that has been put in place by the organization will help you to know what to destroy and what to keep. So you don't have to go to keep everything. And in my line of business, I have actually seen organizations who keeps newspapers that are over 10, 15 years. What do you need them for? What exactly do you need them for? Newspaper over 15 years. If there are sworn affidavits for the organization to be seen on the newspaper, proper record management tells you that you just need the page of the newspaper and be filed away appropriately. Every other thing that is in the newspaper that is not relevant to your organization is trash. Dispose them. That's all. So it helps management, it supports management in making informed decisions. Also, proper record management helps you to secure destruction of your relic or your obsolete files. Your relic or your obsolete files are outdated files. For example, if your business is as old as, say, way back into 1959 or 1960, and then you have audited accounts from 1970 in your organization today, then I think there is a problem because I don't think you need them. Nobody is coming to ask you for them again. So it will now help you to know how to destroy them and not just to take them to one mama that is selling granules or barley on the roadside and then tell her, okay, mama, we don't need this document again. You can use them for your barley or for your own business. No. You will know how to securely destroy these things so that there won't be leakage of vital information that can implicate the organization in any way. So also prevention of organizational history for references and research purposes. Okay. New staffs are going to come in tomorrow, and you are going to be inducting them into this. You're going to be onboarding them into your own system, and they need to know the history of the organization. And one of these history is the minute of meetings that you have, or even if your organization tomorrow is going into a merger, all right. Now the guys that you are merging in would need to see your book. We need to see the history of the organization from its inception up to date. Then they will now decide, okay, are we going to merge or not? Even if it's going into acquisition, you are going to be acquired or you are acquiring any organization or any system.
you need to, the system needs to provide you with an up-to-date history of the organization to enable you to know, okay, if this is good for my business or not. So those are the few benefits of records management. So I believe we'll be seeing from here now how important it is for us to keep a proper record in our organization as it applies to us. So all right, let's go on to the next slide, sir. Thank you very much. So now here we are going to be looking at the common problems of records management. The common problems of records management. Okay, but then before we move into, because this looks like business up to date. So what we did before is to help us to understand what records management is all about, and then all of that. So before we forge ahead, do we have anybody who would want into the chat box, or would you would like to unmute and then tell us, out of everything we've been listed, what benefit you think record management is to you as a person or to your organization? I would like to have a contribution from the house, please. Either in a way of texting it in the chat box, or in a way of telling us what the benefit of records management is. Do we have anyone? We need somebody.
Yeah, I've got my hand up.
Oh, okay. Mr. Rotimi Njayesimi, your hand is up.
Yes, good evening. Records management. Sir. Yeah, I think it gives a trail or history of what's been going on in the company, particularly relevant history, like you said, not just any trash. So it's a documentation of what's going on, and it depends on the industry what you keep and for how long you keep it.
Thank you very much, sir. You've actually taken us in the way of the retention policies that are appropriate for each organization according to their business system. Thank you, sir. Okay, we have another hand of Mr. James Awojobi. Your hand is up. You can unmute yourself and talk to us, sir.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
Good evening, sir. We can hear you loud and clear.
All right. One of the important benefits of records management, similar to what the speaker said earlier on, is business continuity. And of course, that layers in the retention of documents, because if you don't have a proper records management or information governance, so to speak, then the continuity of the business can be in doubt, especially in the line of regulatory requirements and regulatory positions where you're expected to keep certain categories of records and information or data as it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. That's a candid point. All right, do we still have anyone who would like to contribute? Okay, so at this point, let's put all other contributions in the chat box. Please, let's use this chat box, and then we would like this class to be very, very interactive, as it were. Thank you very much, all the contributors. The contributions has been excellent so far. So moving on, we are looking at now the common problems of records management. Okay, so basically, this training tonight is going to take us into the basics. So I understand that some of us in here are gurus in, we've been long in managing records of organizations and all of that. So then, but then we are going to, if you know about everything we're going to be talking about, I need you to take this as a refresher course. And then if you do not, then this is time to take notes. So the things that we actually commonize in various organizations are, are vital in as regards to record management. And then whatever mistake we make with our records management is going to show in our business. It's going to show, legibly in our business. All right, thank you very much, Ndidi. She said it helps in record security. Thank you. It helps in record security. So your records, your vital information will not just be a common knowledge to everybody that can just breeze in and then into your records, your records facilities, and then take whatever they want. So now, can we have the next slide, please? So let's look at the common problems. They are very common, but then you'll see when we dig down into them. Okay, so now I've enlisted 6 problems. 6 problems. Don't worry, they are not going to be. They are not technically intensive. Okay, they are just regular problems that we might just overlook. And now the one that is sitting on the top of the list is cumbersome record storages. So we'll see an example of the cumbersome record storage in the next slide. So the next one is difficulty in inventory management and tracking of files. Now, every other problem that we're going to be discussing is being generated from the number 1, the cumbersome record storage. Every problem that we're going to be discussing, difficulty in inventory management and tracking of files. And number 3 is inability to produce operational files upon request. Number 3 is lack of statistics of your files. And then number 5 is inefficient record disposition. This number 5 is very, very vital. And it's a dangerous part for any organization to tread if you do not have a proper record management in place. If you cannot efficiently dispose your records, it is dangerous. So we'll look at the dangers later on. Then theft. Your records can easily be stolen if you don't have a proper record management or if you have a cumbersome record storage. So let's go on to the next slide. Okay, now these are examples of pictures of cumbersome record storages. All right, these are even fair, all right? But then as a disclaimer, I would like to say that these storages we are seeing here does not implicate any organization in any way whatsoever, all right? These are content that are downloaded from a public server. So which means they were uploaded there because they were safe. So because now as a record manager, one important thing you need to note is the security of files. Your file is not secure, your business is in danger. So I'm adhering to that as an individual, as a professional, and as an organization. So I would say that none of this picture or anybody that will see in any of my slides implicates any organization in any way whatsoever. All right, so now this picture would be given to some of us, if not all of us, a picture of either our records, our record storages or archives in our various organizations. Okay, this is very, very dangerous. I mean, very, very dangerous. Now, I'm going to say something, and then if you agree with me, I need at least one person to unmute and tell me, yes, it's true. Now, I'll give it to you that if a disgruntled employee, an employee that is not happy with some certain treatment of the organization will walk into any of this archive, spend his time, spend the valuable time of the organization and steal a vital information from here to use it for an ulterior motive that he has against the organization, I believe you agree with me that there is no way you can trace that. There is no way you can catch that person. There is no way you can even suspect something like that until it is too late. Please, I need somebody to agree with me on this. Do we have any contributor that a vital record can be stolen from here and the organization who are falling into this part of it wouldn't even know? Okay, so does it mean that we disagree with me? Okay, and it says true. Okay, it's true, right? Thank you. Now, in the next slide, let's have the next slide and look, and then we'll see the difference between this type of archive and the next one we're going to be seeing. Wow, this looks beautiful, isn't it? Now, the previous slide showed us a cumbersome record storage. And then here we're having an improved record management storage system. Now, I deliberately put two types of improved record management on this particular slide. Now, if you look at the two pictures we have at top, they are actually smaller, and then they are actually simple. So we can say, okay, we can take this as, okay, this is for either small businesses or some not so big organizations. But then if you come down to the next one, because we might be having, this saying in our head, okay, yeah, it is easy when you have smaller documents to manage, but then when your organization grows to a larger extent, and then you have great turnover of records or documents, you are not able to, over the time, manage them properly. I would want to debunk that idea in your mind and tell you that no matter the volume of your records, no matter the volume of your records, you can still maintain an improved record management storage system, no matter the volume of your records. I have a superior on this call right now that can bear a witness to that. Mr. Kojo, all the way from Ghana, thank you very much for being on this call. So he is a witness that no matter the volume of your records, you can still ensure, you can still maintain an improved record management storage, like you have seen in the racks on the two slides that are on the two pictures that are at the bottom of this very slide. Now, if we have the kind of record storage we have in the previous slide, aside from losing records, I want us to contribute to this and tell us what other problems we think we might have from that kind of record storage we have, because we said every problem that we're going to be discussing tonight are going to come in from the number one problem that we have, and that is cumbersome record storages. So now, if you have this the previous one we have, what problem do you think it poses on businesses? Contributions, please, either in the form of text or you unmute yourself and then contribute to it. Hello, professionals. The contributions, please keep it coming in. Okay. Okay. All right. Access. Thank you, Mr. Jayesimi. Mr. Rotimi Jayesimi. Access is poor. Access is poor. I mean, if you have an urgency to submit a record to a regulatory body in terms of legal or any other litigation, I mean, there is no way you can get that document. There is no way. Believe me, there is no way. To find a particular file is going to be very, very difficult. It is going to be very, very difficult, I bet you. There is no way you can find a particular document in this whole mess. I mean, this is a mess. But then when we come to the improved record management storage system, it is easy because from what I'm seeing, these records are actually should be sequentially arranged, properly labeled, and then on a larger scale, the archives are appropriately mapped. Because in the case where you have a larger, and then in the larger archives, you have a database system that controls or monitors the movement of files to and fro these archives. So actually, when we have this improved record management storage system, we have everything in place to deal with our business at the snap of a finger. All right. So thank you very much for that beautiful contribution, and I will appreciate more contribution from other participants, because that is how exactly we are learning, and then we believe to here this night to learn. Okay, so moving on, sir. Now let's move on to the next problem that we can easily encounter. Next slide, sir. Okay, while we are coming up with the next slide will tell us that difficulties in inventory management and tracking of files. Yeah, difficulties in inventory management and tracking of files. Mr. Jayesimi has given us everything we need to know on that. Now, because if you have a cumbersome record storage system, then access is going to be poor, and to track down a file is going to be difficult because you do not have an inventory in place. You do not have a manifest in place. You do not have the statistics of your records in place. So how then do you think you can track down a record? In fact, if your record is not properly kept, then you won't be able to do a proper segment, as it were, a proper segment of your document. So which means you might be having legal documents in accounting documents. You might be having HR documents in safety documents. You might be having logistic documents, in production documents. You might be, instead of your way bill to be, instead of having your way bills in where they should be, maybe you are having your way bills in the MD's document from what we had in the cumbersome system. So because it is cumbersome, so that therefore you now find it very, very difficult to take proper inventory and to manage that inventory, because it is one thing to take inventory of what you have, and it's another thing to manage that inventory. And part of managing inventory is for you to, from time to time, update your inventory. From time to time to update it, because as the business is going on a daily basis, you are adding more documents or more records into what you had previously. Then if you do not have in place a proper inventory, then there is nothing to update. So this is a terrible problem. Also, when you need a file, there is no way you can track that file down. So the second problem we looked at tonight is that there is going to be difficulty in inventory management and tracking of your documents. So now in my presenters, I said, if you have a cumbersome record storage, you won't be able to take a proper inventory of the content of your storage. And as a result, you won't have a proper tracking system in place for all of your files. So it is very, very difficult to have a proper inventory and to manage that inventory. All right, let's go on to the next problem. Next slide, please. Okay, so the next problem is your inability to produce or to provide operational files upon request. Okay, now we talk about in the beginning, we talked about you having your key staff who are supposed to be busy on their core businesses. But then because you have that kind of record storage, now the documents they need, the records they need for their daily operations, they couldn't get them upon request. So now during operation in any organization, okay, you will need your key staffs to focus on their core businesses instead of wasting hours in tumbling through heaps of files, searching for a client's files. Now, this could be handled by a proper record management system where you have a record control officer in place to bring these files to them while they concentrate their efforts, their expertise on their core duties. Like that, you are saving the company time, you are saving the company money, and you're saving the company embarrassment. Now, imagine a customer walk into a bank and met the branch manager and said, okay, and this is a very big customer to this branch, to this particular branch. And then he's saying, I need XYZ records. And it was like, it's like, oh, okay, so actually, now this excuse now is coming after wasting maybe about 2 hours of his time. Sir, we are sorry, actually, the files we couldn't get them out because we just couldn't get them out. Okay, we couldn't get them away, and we are so sorry. So give us like 2 weeks, we'll be able to get them for you because you do not have in place a proper record management. Then you have these flimsy excuse, and then your inability to keep your house now might or will be affecting another person's business. Okay, so your inability to produce operational files upon request is a big problem that we are going to be looking at. So like I said, we're not saying anything technical here. It's there are practices that has become norm in organization, most especially in public sectors. They have become norms to not pay attention to proper records keeping. Okay, moving on. So let's go on to the next slide, where we talk about you not having. Now, you lack the statistics of your files or your records. This time around, because you do not keep a proper record, you don't even know how many files you have for HR, how many files you have for finance, how many files you have for operations, how many files you have for the MD, how many files you have for safety, and like that, and like that, and like that, because you do not have proper record management. So not having an updated inventory, like we said in one of the slides, which is one of the problems, you're not having an updated inventory of your files in your organization. You won't be able to say for sure how many documents or files that you have across various departments in your organization. Hence, the difficulties in tracing your files, in updating your files, etc. Okay, now let me share a live experience with you. Now, as a record manager, we have had issues, we have come across issues where you you are working on a client file, okay? Working on this client file, say, for example, in operations department, for example. Now you have two documents, two files, two file folders that are having the same name. Okay, now this is a life experience. You have two documents, two files, two file folders that carries the same name of the client, the same number of clients. But then when you open them, you have different documents in them. So then upon a further investigation, you then realize that one of the file is the continuation of the other. So what might have happened at this point is, now maybe two persons, two staffs, two employees worked on these files at a different time. Now the first guy worked on one file, he did the filing, correct labeling, everything was fine at a different time, but then no proper record management in place. They left the file in a different place. Now another guy came in working on the same client. Now, since he couldn't see an existing file on this client, he decided to open a new file for this same client. Now, when it's coming to a record manager, you're going to be confused at a point because you have two files that are having the same name. Now, because you are not the original creator of this file, you can't tell if this is error in the appraisal of the file, in naming of the file folders now, or it is intentional. Now, if it is intentional, as a record manager, how do you index this one, which that is coming into the stage of cataloging? How do you catalog this thing? Because these two guys are having the same name. Because if you do not have a different name for a different file, in the times when you need access to these files, you wouldn't know where to go to, because now on your screen, you're going to be having two files that carries the same name. Now the question at this time is, now who made the mistake? Is it the record creator or the records manager? So we see, but if you before now have proper record management in place and you know the statistics of your records, then you'll be able to know when it's time for you to update a particular record. You know that, okay, we have this record that has been existing, then we continue from there. Or in instance where you have loads of documents from a particular client and your app file folder is filled up. Now, if you do not have a statistic, you wouldn't know when that app file folder is filled up, so that you now move over to the next file folder, which is now the continuation of your file A. Then you'll be able to name the second file as file B, because if you do not name them like that, when you are doing your record keeping, you're going to have problem because if it's a different party, if it's a third party that is handling it, you wouldn't know which one is A and which one is B. For example, if there are documents that are not dated, they wouldn't know which one comes first and which one comes last. Or if you go into either logistics or in shipping. Now, for example, you cleared a container for a particular client in April of 2022. So you open a folder and then you generated a TDO for them in April. Now they are going to exit the port. Now the TDO, the clearance, the custom, everything are going to carry different dates. So a neutral body wouldn't know which file comes first and which one comes last if it is not properly named. And then having a proper statistics will help you to know how to label these things, how to update your files, and then how to move on if you have the former folder to be filled up. So let's move on to the next one. The next slide told us about inefficient disposition of files. Now, like I said, when we are talking about the benefits of improved record management to our various organizations, okay? Not all files are meant to be kept. I repeat myself, not all of your documents are meant to be kept. So If you have a system in place, then you'll be able to know what your retention policy states. And then you know when some group or a certain document is due for disposition. Because if you do not have this system in place, you might be implicating yourself while you are trying to reduce the loads of documents that the organization is having by destroying the right files. Okay, so but then if you have in place a proper record management, you have in place a policy that states how to dispose your files, your obsolete files now, then you'll be able to say, okay, for example, our retention policy says any files or any audited accounts should be disposed. Then you will know that, okay, this is 2022, all the audited files from, let's say, 2014 downwards can be disposed. So that means you're going to start from either 2013 downward, then you dispose those ones appropriately. You're not going to, like I said, you're not going to sell them to the mama that is selling akara on the roadside because you want to help her own SME. You might be helping her small business while you are implicating your own big organization. Because every file, every document that have been generated from every organization, they are vital and they are crucial to the operations of that organization, to them staying in the market and to them to be competitive in that industry. So you might be selling out information, selling it out for free to that innocent woman, and the innocent woman will transfer these documents by using it to sell akara or bole or maize, as the case may be, to either an employee of your competitor. Like that, gradually, you have innocently opened your organization to some certain threat that you didn't bargain for. So, proper record keeping will help you to know what to destroy, when to destroy them, and how to destroy them. But then it has to be that you have a system in place to monitor your file disposition. Because I tell you again and again, not every file are meant to be kept. Not every record are meant to be kept. And at the same time, you do not dispose your records like you are disposing your tissue paper or your kitchen paper. No. No, no, no. It's a big no. It has to be done by an expert, or you do your proper shredding in-house. In any ways, it means no matter how irrelevant the record is, no matter how useless the record is, if it gets into the wrong hands, it becomes gold. So they can either use it against you to either tarnish the image of the company, or they can give them an edge against you in your competition, because take it or leave it, the business world is full of competition. In fact, if you're not competing, then what is the fun of being in the business world, right? So now it will help you to then know how to efficiently dispose your records. So let's go on to the next slide. Now, theft. The next slide says theft. I have had an experience on this one, but because we had a system in place, the stolen information this time around, it's now. When we talk about theft, you might think it's okay. It's going to be maybe they are going to take the documents, maybe photocopy it and then take it out. No. Science and technology has made it easy for records or information to be stolen from our organization, if you do not know. Now, let me give you this. A person, a bad employee, or a disgruntled employee, or an employee who feels less motivated, can bring in their phones into your file room, snap your vital documents, and then send them to their buyer and delete it immediately. So even if you are tracing it, you won't even be able to trace it to them. How about that? Now he said, okay, they might not be able to take clear pictures. We have the list of Android phones now, they have application that can, in 5 seconds, less than 5 seconds, scan your documents, convert it into a PDF immediately and send it out of your organization, delete it immediately, and you won't even have a trace of it. Okay? You won't have a trace of it. Till thy kingdom come, you might not be able to find it. And then if you're going to be able to find it, if you bring in an expert in cybersecurity or information breach or record breach, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Now, what if it is too late for you to retrieve that document that has gone out into the bad market? So, which is why it is not, I mean, it is beyond important now for us to ensure we are keeping records. Now, and this is not for big organizations, okay? This is not for big organizations only. Even as a SME, okay, you are a starter, you are coming up. If you are just starting your business, it is the best time for you to ensure proper record keeping, to ensure proper record management, to ensure proper record control, to ensure proper record governance, to ensure proper record security. Because if you made it a system now, that is what you take ahead and transfer to the next generation and the generation after. Because as your organization is growing, employees are going and they are coming. Because yes, in every organization there is turnover. Employees are going and they are coming. So the system that they meet on ground, the system that they were inducted into, is what they will base their operations on. So if you do not have a system in place to manage your records, to know how many records you have, to do a routine check on your records, then you won't even know if your record is being stolen or not. Now, because of technology now, if your records are common knowledge to every organization, even your cleaner can walk into your storage and access your documents, then you won't even, which means you don't have control of your archives. But that means anybody can take away anything they want, anything they like from your records, and it will deal a great blow on your records. Okay, I mean on your records, which will have effect on your business. It could be in productivity, it could be in efficiency, it could be in integrity, and it could be in the defamation of the character of your organization. So that is that. So let's move on quickly on to the best now. Are we talking about only problems? I said we are going to just take about 6 simple problems tonight. None of this one is technically intensive. They are just regular, innocent problems that can occur in our organization. Now we are going to look into some few practices that we can put in place than to be able to curtail this problem, either to curtail them or to prevent them from happening, or if they happen already, how to remedy them. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Now, this next slide told us about the best practices. Now, if you look closely on your screen, we have about 7. They look like steps, but then I arrange them in the order of priorities. Okay, so now quickly we'll dash into it. So one of the best practices is one of its very first is to establish a proper records management system. Now listen to me, I didn't say record management and stop there. I said record management system. The key word here is system. The key word here is system. No, you cannot just have a haphazard kind of record management, and then every group of employees that are coming in, they have their own ways of managing their own record. No, it has to be uniform. So that is why I added system. It has to be a proper records management system. Now, when I say system, I don't want us to even put our mind on your computer, on machines that you need to run, on the software that you need to use to manage your system, on the database that you need to deploy. No, I mean a policy, I mean procedures. And these procedures, if you have 10,000 departments in your organization, this one procedures, this singular process must cut across all of them so that you have uniformity in your record management system. It has to be a system so that even in 10 years, in 20 years time, when you're going to have a new board of trustees, a new chairman, a new manager, a new management trainee, executive trainee, anybody at all that is coming into the organization and they are going to be inducting into this organization, we're going to onboard them into this organization, we're going to do orientation for them. It has to be that this system is in place and we are giving it to them as they should follow through. So which is why it must be a system. It must be a common practice in the organization that, okay, in XYZ Limited, this is our system of records keeping. Okay, now then number two, after you have in place a proper record management system, then you establish a policy that makes adherence of all employees to the record management system compulsory. So a policy must be in place that, okay, if you are going to be a member of this organization, now this is the record management system we have, and then you must adhere to it at all costs. You cannot bargain it. Okay. Now, this aspect does not only apply to lower staffs, junior staff, because the irony of life is in the corporate world, when we are growing, we tend to concentrate our energy much more on what is at hand, on our current position, while we are leaving or ignoring the little things that matters in our previous position. Say, for example, you are a junior manager, you were a junior manager, and now you become a middle manager. So, and then you felt that, okay, now I've grown, and then the records of this department, or the records of my unit, or the records of my group is no longer my own problem. You left that to the junior staff. It might be a problem because when the consequences are going to come, they are starting from the head. So which is why from the lowest person, from the least person in the organization to the highest person in the organization, they must know this policy and they must be adherent to the letters, to the policy that are put in place for managing the records of the organizations. All right, then we go into training. Now, what you didn't teach to your employees, you don't expect them to deliver on that. So which is why it is important that we train, we orient, we sensitize our employees from time to time on the importance of proper records management system and how it is vital to our business. Now, I believe I'm talking to business owners. I believe I'm talking to heads of departments in organization. I believe I'm talking to people who are intending to have businesses in the future. It is important that you train your employees, you give them the orientation that is necessary, and then from time to time, you do a sensitization for them. You sensitize them on the importance of proper record management to your business. Because like we said, if you must ensure business continuity, then you must have in place a proper record management. If not, you might not last long in businesses. It is said that 80% of every business that starts closed down after 5 years. Well, that might be true. And I would like to tell you that one of the major reasons they are having is their improper record management. If you cannot be able to trace back your financial records of 5 years ago, as close as 5 years ago, then I don't know what you are doing exactly in the business. So which is one of the reasons why some of these businesses close faster than they open. We have guys who are out there, they put a lot of energy, a lot of money, a lot of resources in opening a business, and in the next 5 years, you won't see those businesses running again. It's tragic. But then if what should be done were done, then they would have maybe remained in business up until now. Okay, so we talk about training, we talk about orientation, and we talk about sensitization of your employees. I mean, from the chairman to the cleaner are all employees of this organization. You as a business owner, there is a part of you that is, and that it says you are an employee of this organization. So you must train yourself, you must have the orientation. All right. Okay, so now we'll go into the point of employment. Like I said, like I was going to share with us, okay, you have professionals that you have employed to do some core businesses that that contribute largely to your productivity, that contribute largely to your deliveries. All right, you don't want to bother them with these other aspects of the business, although it is very, very important. So which is why you need to employ, if you are keeping your records on site, because we didn't talk about record cycle yet, but then we're going to talk about record cycle much later before we close. So you need to employ either an archivist or a record clerk or a record controller. Different organizations with their various names they give to various to this position. Some of them call them archivists, some of them call them record clerks, some call them records controller. Even in the legal practitioners, they call them librarians. So, but whatever names you are calling this guy, you need somebody who is in place, who is responsible for managing the flow of your records. The creation of it, they are going to be on from the creation of it to the usage to the dissemination, then to the archiving of it. After they've archived them, then if references are being made to these records in the future, they are the ones who are going to disseminate this document to the department that need them, and then they are responsible for getting them back into the record storages to where they should be. So we need to have either a team, or it depends on the size of your organization now. Either you have a team or a personnel, could be one, could be two, who will monitor this system, the system that you put in place. Because believe me, every system that you put in place over the time, if you do not have an expert who will monitor the system to ensure that this system is running as it should, then it's as good as you not having a system in place, because a system that is not enforced will easily go down the drain and will not be effective over the time. And if it's not effective, now what we are talking about is that you are exposing your business to danger. And also, when we're talking about this employment, we're talking about, okay, you can also employ a third party who will either manage your record on site or off site. It depends. So it's either you employ an individual or you employ a third-party service provider in terms of records management. Okay, so let's go to deployment. So you deploy a record and information security within and outside of your organization. Now, this aspect today, most of organizations are working remotely, or every organization are working on hybrid. Even though we are still in the office, we are still doing. For example, we're having Zoom now. Now, let's just say, for example, that this is an intra meeting for a particular organization, and we're going to be sharing vital information across this platform. How do we manage them? Or the records that are meant for the senior management, and we don't want the senior staff, we don't want the junior staff to have access to them. How do we manage them? We can just deploy record or information security as simple as encryption, which is a different training of its own entirely. Encryption. It might sound like a big technical word, but it's as simple as barcoding the file that you're going to send to the next person, so that it is only the next person that has the password that will have access to this document. Every other person will not have. Now, I'll give you an example of this. Your bank statements. If you request a soft copy of your bank statement from your bank, the bank is going to email you your bank statement. But then when you open the bank statement, when opening your statement, the file is not going to open to you immediately. You are going to be asked for a password. Sometimes they will ask you to put the 10 digits of your bank account number. Or the bank will send you the password to your own bank account statement. Hello? Okay, because the internet is a very small village, a very small global village. Information are passing, and we have bad guys in this global village who are ready to do big blows to organization or individuals, which is why encryption is one way to secure our documents. So for example, you are sending the document across from your organization server to a private server. If it's not encrypted, it can either be edited or it can be stolen. So it's important that you deploy record and information security. I said again, within and outside of your organization, which means this has to do with your physical record has to be secured, and then your digital record has to be secured as well. But then, if you do not have a system in place, if you have not established a proper record and information management, like we said in the first best practice, then we won't be able to address these issues of vulnerability of our records or our information. Okay. Also, now we talk about transfers. Now you transfer all semi-active and non-active files to an offsite archive. Okay, so this is one of the best practices. So one of the problems we have is having a cumbersome record storage. Now, sometimes we have a cumbersome record storage, not because we have irrelevant documents. Sometimes it's actually because we have relevant documents, but then they have overstayed their time in our in-house records, which means this set of documents are long overdue to be transferred to an offsite archive, but then they are still sitting. So which means we do not have space for the most recent document to be kept in our house. So which means it's now posing danger or posing delay to our productivity as an organization. So which is why it is important for us to transfer all semi-active documents and non-active document to offsite. Okay, now let me chip something in here. So let's talk quickly on the types of records that we have, that every organization has. If you are in the medical, if you are in the logistics, if you are in operation, if you are in production, any type of industry that you are into, you actually have 3 types of documents or 3 types of records. So number 1 is you have active documents. So active documents are the documents that you need immediate operation. Then you have semi-active documents. Well, these documents, they are still alive, but then they are not needed or they are not necessary for immediate operation. So you can actually keep them in an offsite archive, and then when you have need of them, you can make requests for them, retrieve them, use them for what you needed them for, and then return them back to the offsite archive so that you have space in your own organization to do other productive activities. Then you have non-active documents. Now, these non-active documents, they could either be documents that they are no longer active, but they have not exceeded the retention policy. Okay, so which means you still have to keep them. Or there are some documents which you, by the discretion of the management of your organization, you think the litigation might come up tomorrow on them, so which means you have to keep them. Now, or sometimes we have some documents that have eternal lifespan. For example, if you have MOUs or any type of agreement at all, they never expire. You have to keep them. So this one has to be kept in an offsite archive. You don't need them to be occupying space in your organization, in your facility, because you can actually use that space for something else. Okay. So now again, we said we transfer all semi-active and non-active files Okay, Mr. Ejiofor, please, somebody is saying that the screen is not visible. She can't see the screen. So please help with that. And then Mrs. Grace, I think, if I'm correct, I think you're the one who sent the message. Please also work on your own device to see, because I can see the screen. So please work on your own device and see what's going on. Okay, so we said to transfer every document that are not relevant for immediate operation to an offsite archive. Like that, you have the control of them, then you have your space to do other activities that will generate more revenues for your organization. All right. Now, lastly, on our best practices, we said to securely. Now, this word here is key. Securely dispose all obsolete files according to your organizational regulation. Okay, Mr. Grace, Mrs. Grace, thank you. Okay, so we're talking of disposing your file, destroying your files. As a record manager, as a business owner, as a professional, you know very well that in record management, everything we have said so far, the most sensitive part, the most dangerous part is destruction of your records. So, which is why it poses a great threat to your business if you don't know what you are destroying. All right. Now, we have organizations who have been keeping files that are not relevant to their operation again any longer. They don't have need for them again any longer. But then this thing has been in place for over 7 years, for over 10 years for organization. I had a practical experience. Okay, I had a practical experience. Some files were given for, I work in an offsite archive. Some files were given in 2018 to be archived. Now, at that time, these files were not properly maintained. So they have that they just another one have that is anyhow. They pack and put the files in their own boxes anyhow, and they left it anyhow in their archives. So when they call us to come and pick them, we advise them professionally that okay, these things we think they are in mess because we have not even examined all of your files, but they were insistent. And since they are not going to pay for the service of sorting, cataloging, and every other thing that is required for proper record keeping, so we can't do pro bono. I mean, free of charge work. No, it's not done. So then we decided to keep for them. Now this year, they woke from their sleep and they decided, okay, to do a review on all their files. It pains me. I mean, it's a great pain to me when they called me, when they gave me the result of their review. 85% of the document that they have kept since 2018 up to date had were supposed to be destroyed 7 years before 2018. I don't know if anybody gets that. What I'm saying is, some documents were given to me, for example, to keep for them in 2018. Now, these documents, as of 2018, should have been destroyed 7 years ago before 2008. That means these documents should have been destroyed in 2011. So they have kept it in their own facility up until that time. Now, so that time they thought it's free of charge, but then it's actually taking space that is meant for something else. Now they transferred it to an offsite archive and they kept it again for another 4 years. And this time around, they were paying for storage, they were paying for everything for 4 years on files and documents that are no longer relevant, that should be destroyed over 10, over 11 years ago. So painfully, they sent an email that 85% of those documents are to be destroyed. Imagine that. Now, if they had a proper record keeping from the beginning, they would have known that in 2011, this so much document should have been destroyed in 2011. They would have used the space that they've wasted for 7 years, either lease it out to whoever will need it, because they were actually running their own archives on their own. So either lease it out to people, to another organization who will be paying them revenues, or they use to set up a different department entirely. Then the money they have paid over the year, over 4 years now, they shouldn't have paid them. So now, if you do not have a system in place so that you know what your retention policies are, when to destroy files, what to destroy, and how to destroy them, then you will be posing your business on the danger of destroying what you shouldn't destroy, or keeping what you should destroy. So securely disposing all your obsolete files will help you, according to your organizational regulation now, will help you to maintain your records appropriately. Okay, so quickly, let's go to the next slide. Then slide 18. So I think basically I think this is the last most important slide, although the other ones are still important. But then we have about 4 more slides to go. Thank you for staying with me up until this time. I appreciate your time. And then even as I am delivering this class, I'm learning myself, because I believe that when you are learning the same time. So I called it in my own philosophy that it's 720-degree learning, because the first time you learn is actually 360. And we are reteaching others about this. It becomes, you are taking another circle. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to deliver this training this night, because I have actually learned a lot myself, and I've actually reminded myself a lot about the things that I should do and about the practices that I should put in place. Okay, so I'll run us through quickly in the procedures that we can take to keep our records properly. Now, this does not actually apply to some set of organizations. No. Either you are an organization and either you are 50 years old, okay? You are 50 years old in business, but you do not have a proper record management in place. You can apply these steps. If you are 5 years old, you can apply steps. If you are planning on opening a business, yes, you can apply these steps. Okay, you don't even have a business, you are an employee. You can introduce these steps to your organization, and they can, it's very easily deploy it, and then they have ease in their business operation. Okay, so these procedures are actually very, very simple. Now, the first one is collection or creation of file. Now, while I stated collection or creation of file here is, now, if you are a third-party record management service provider, then your own starts from collection. And then if you are the record owner, yours starts from creation, because you actually create this document. Because as we run business on daily basis, ideas are coming, requests are coming, and then these ideas, they come in form of data. Then data grows into information, and then we convert the information into records. And then this record, over the time, become much. So now, either you are collecting the records, or you are creating the records. Now, most of the times when you create the records or when you collect the records, they are not sequentially arranged. So which will take you to the point of sorting. So another word you can use for sorting here is arrangement. For example, if you are working in an insurance company and you have insurance policy, now it is required of you that you apply with the sorting that is most applicable to what you are doing. Which means if you are an insurance company, you have to first of all divide your records into various departments. Now, in the insurance department is usually in 2 wings. You have the underwriting, and then you have the claims. So now you then know, okay, these records are for claims, these records are for underwriting. Then you have different classes of insurances. You have motor, you have burglary, you have fire, you have marine, you have in transit, you have money in transit. So 1,000,001 different types of policies that we have in insurances. Okay, so now you separate your records according to these classes. Then within each classes you have either you want to arrange them by years for easy access, or you want to go ahead and just arrange them by the no, 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 no. Sorry, hello everyone. I ran into some technical issues. So sorry, not covered. Okay. So I don't want to take time, so I'll run into them, and I believe. Okay, I believe everyone can hear me. Okay, so we're talking about sorting. So sorting is actually sequentially arranging your your documents, your records for easy access. So you just have to do what works for you. If it works for you alphabetically, fine. If it works for you chronologically, fine. Chronologically means you are sorting with dates, day, month, and year. That's chronological arrangement in sorting. Or numerically, with number, alphanumerically. It depends. If your file names are with mixture of alphabet and numbers, then you have to arrange them in that very order. Okay, so now then you move on to cataloging or indexing, any language you want to use. So indexing and cataloging is actually the stage where you collect the metadata that are useful for your record keeping from all of your documents. I mean, all of them, all. No one is too small, no one is big. Everything. You collect the metadata that is necessary for your record keeping, and then you have a kind of manifest for yourself that this is going to help you to be able to trace or to track down any document that you would need for your operation or for regulatories. Okay, then you move on to boxing and storage. That is, if you have a large volume of documents, you have to box them, and then you have to store them away in your archives, either in your on-site archive or your off-site archive. So boxing is not that, it's not a technical thing, although it's technical when you do it, because if during boxing you made any mistake in not arranging them sequentially in the box, then whatever it is that you have sorted, whatever it is that you have cataloged, messed it up. So the way you sort them serially or alphabetically is the same way you are going to systematically arrange them in your boxing. So boxing as well requires technicality. Just ensure the flow. Okay, now after your boxing for storage, then something is important. You need to label your boxes. Labeling. Now, the archaic way, the ancient way of labeling is the summary of what they have of what the content is in the box will be written on the body of the box. Yeah, it works then, but then it's not efficient, because the essence of record management is, number one, for secrecy. Okay, to keep your record secret so that it does not become a common knowledge to everybody who have access to your records. Okay, so then if you have the names of the files you have in the box on outside the box, there's nothing secret about it. There's nothing confidential about this. So which is why science and technology has brought to us a barcoding system, and a lot of archives has adopted this system. Some who are still living in the past wouldn't still adopt this system, but then it's the best practice. But then if you have to have a barcoding system, then it has to be that you have a database in place that will monitor your archive. So which is why if your business is small and you cannot incur the cost of running a database, then you have to employ a third party. So much later on, I will introduce to us few organizations who can help us to manage either individual files or corporate files. So this labeling will help you to know what is the content of a box, or what is the content of a file folder, or what is the content of a file holder, or what is the content of a cabinet. As the case may be, like I said, whatever works for you, do it. But then you just have to do it following these procedures correctly. Okay, and then lastly, you do your system storage. So this system storage has to do with data entry. You enter the data that you catalog into your database. If you have a database, you enter this into your database. Then you generate for yourself a soft copy manifest that you can, at the click of Control F, you can search through and get whatever you want and retrieve immediately without wasting time. Technology has made things easy, has made life easy for us, even in records management. So we need to incorporate technology into our record management. Okay, so which is part, now from this part, we cannot be able to talk about digitalization and digital transformation of our record system in our position. But that is not the business of this night. The business of tonight is to identify the problems, the simple problems we have in record management, and then what are the simple approach that we can put to them to ensure that all of these things are in place and we have our records intact. Okay, so these are the procedures. And then I think somebody was asking in the chat room that how can the material be made available? Fine, Mr. Ejiofor will make that available. He has everything and he has my go ahead to share. But then he will give the answer to us about the recordings. Okay. So now let's go on to the next slide, sir. Slide 19. Okay. Now we are coming closer and closer to the end of the day where we draw the curtain. Now, Walt Disney said something. He said the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Now, some of us might know the importance of record management to our business. And over the years, we've just been talking about them, postponing it. In fact, we even bring it up in our AGM, annual general meetings. That, okay, this year we're going to we're going to concentrate on managing our records, having them appropriately and how they should be, but then we never did them. But then how to do is to just stop talking about it and begin to do it. I mean, from this lecture tonight, I want us to go back and begin to do them. You can start from your house. You have your own records in your house. You can start from your house. Do it in your house. You can extend it to your unit. You can extend it to your department. And if you are a policy decider in the organization, then you can bring it into the organization and then go through these practices. Then if you can't handle it yourself, you call an expert to it. But then the most important thing is you need to start doing it now. Because like I said, if your business today is 10 years old, the best time for you to have started your record management is 10 years ago. But am I saying that it is too late now for you to do record management? No. You can still amend. You can still make up for the lost years, okay? But it is important that you start immediately. And if you are on this call and you are planning to start your own business, it is important that you put system in place that while you are starting the business, you are starting immediately the record keeping, immediately. From finance to operation, to safety, to production, to customer service, anything at all. Okay, so let's quit talking about record management, how to keep our record. In fact, let's even quit complaining of how our records are not looking well and start to do them and start to make them look good. So over to the next slide. So like I said, next slide, please. So I have a list of, 3 organizations here that can help us. Now this is in the case where we need to outsource or where we need to consult. Okay. Now, organizations who can help you, who you can consult in record management and training. So we have 3 organizations. We have TRIMS, a Titan Record and Information Management System. So you can consult them for training. You can consult them for your offsite archiving, anything. And if you need further information on any of these organizations, you can reach out to me. The last slide is going to contain my email address, my phone number, and then you can reach out to me anytime, any day. Also, this Institute of Information Management, they are the best in training of how you can manage your data, how you can manage your information, how you can manage your records. If you need them to do offsite archive for you, they have the connect. If you need them to train your employees, they have the connect. Everything you need is in the Institute of Information Management. And there's, of course, Top Archive. Top Archive is basically where I work presently. And yes, so it's needless for me to say that every information that you need about Top Archive in records management, the consulting, the training, on-site, off-site archiving, digitization, secure disposition of your files, anything that has to do, anything at all that is related and relevant to records and information management, reach out to Top Archive, and then they are in there to give you the best of services. So the next slide, sir. Okay. So we are at the Q&A section. All right, so Mr. Geoffrey, I saw that I think Mr. Alexandra, I think he posted a question before I had the technical issue. So could you please track that question down and share with me? I think he was asking a question. I don't know if it was a question, but I saw the message briefly. But then if any of us have a question to ask, so we can begin to either raise our hands or put our question in the chat box. So we just treat them. We treat the ones we could, and then we move ahead. So everyone we couldn't tonight can be forwarded to me. I treat them, then I'll put them across all the platforms. So Mr. Geoffrey, to do me that favor. I think I saw a question from Mr. Alexander. If you can trace it, that will be fine. But then, Mr. Anago, please, if you can do your question again, that will be fine too. If you have a question. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mr. Geoff. For now, how do you ensure digital transformation alignment with digital archiving and record management, considering the process design and business operations data? Okay, so Mr. Alex, if I understand your question, the question is saying that is asking how we can incorporate digital archiving into digital transformation that we see that is happening across all businesses now. Yes, you can unmute your mic, sir. Let's be interactive on this section.
Okay, good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can. So did I interpret your question well?
Brian, well done for your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
I actually made it an open question that's open for opening the mind of everyone so that we have a time to your presentation, right?
Okay, sir.
Because of where the area and what we have been promoting is information management, right? In terms of digital transformation and data protection and records management, right? Because the modern days today, we cannot do without physical record, we agree with that, but how are we managing the digital transformation whereby, you know, in the various sectors now, most of the things are now automated. Most of the point of collections forms are now automated. Reports are now being generated. Transaction reports have been generated real time, right? And we need to now create a digital archive where the process that we have physically can also be digitized, right? But today, what we have is that we get our confidential documents digitized and put them on the record management systems, right? The likes of the EDMS and the DMS. So my question is, we are having digital transformation. So we need to change the process from what we are doing before. Now everything is now being automated, and even approvals, output of processes. That's why I said considering the design and business operations. You have for those of us that use Microsoft Word, we have now created all the documents that goes to the from the creation of the document up to the document management system, then based on the retention, right? So at this stage, we are not doing any scanning. At this stage, from the creation up to the retention and to the archive, everything follows through of the process. Yes. So that was my question. Focusing on what is happening today. So okay. That was the reason why I asked the question, because all these processes that very good presentation, very good processes we have today is the physical one. Take, for instance, something happens where we keep the physical archives, right? And we have digitized most of them. There are some archives you cannot digitize, we know that. I don't want to go into that. I'm just focusing on digital transformation alignment with digital archiving.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, that it's a beautiful question. Okay, and then today almost everything has been automated, right? But then, as far as our country is concerned, we still have some relevant documents that are lying there in various archives across organizations. Then, so before we come into the digitalization, but I will not going to be putting in trash into our digital our record management system. So we have to go through the physical processing because before we establish the digital platform, and we need to create the skeletal base for it, which is our physical archiving. So, but then from the records that we're going to be generating after that, which of course they are digital, can be infused into our system. And we have a lot of handles that can do that. You can either buy it yourself, or you get in an external body to do it for you. So thank you very much. Thank you very, very much, Mr. Anado, for your question. I think that's a question and as a contribution. Okay, so we have a question: is that what are major differences between data management, information management, record management, and document management? Okay, now the order is almost perfect. Data grows to information, and then information, you convert them to document, and then your document over the time it becomes your records. So actually, it depends on various organizations on the system they put in place to manage their okay. They have data banks. So all of their data bank now in the sense of all of their ideas, they coming from who is coming from which department is coming from, being stored away in data banks. So they generate the information that are necessary for their business running and their business operation. Now, this information can either be made into a soft copy document or a hard copy document. Then you now come into managing these records, either virtually or physically. Okay, so then the way of managing data across all these four categories mentioned actually varies from one organization to another. And the major differences that are between these managements are actually not much, so to say, because one leads to another. So which is why we will because one manager, you can apply skill management to all of them. If your data is physical, you can apply physical management, virtual, you can apply virtual management system. As we have mentioned, you collect them, you sequentially keep them for easy access, you have them and you keep them on where they should be. And then you set on them security so that somebody who doesn't have to access something sensitive or some not applicable to his or so basically, one or another. Okay, so Mr. Izuchukwu, please. Mr. Ejiola, please read. Can you help me read out the next question, please? Are you with us, sir?
The next question is from Professor Rotimi Daisimi. He's asking, when are we going to have electronic records management?
So I asked training or
yeah. Prof, if you are still online, kindly unmute and ask your question.
Okay, sir.
Yes, good evening, and thank you for your presentation. Most organizations are moving to electronic records. That's not to say paper-based records are not good, but I think we also have to start looking at moving with the times. So that's why I put that question there. How do we promote organizations to go electronic? How does the Institute promote organizations?
The Institute as a body.
Yeah, oh yeah. So what can we
President,
do?
Yes, I think I would love to answer that, Prof.
Exactly.
Just like Mr. Nagu mentioned earlier on, I think in the last couple of months now, we've actually been going around various government agencies promoting digital, transformation, which has to do with electronic records management. So we've actually been having sessions extensively in the area of electronic records management. Probably we might just bring in something either on the quarterly training program or during one of our webinars, if that is actually what you're looking at. So that is something doable, and we try as much as possible to, try to focus on topics that are relevant. And I think electronic records management is something that is very hot now, and most organizations are trying to digitize all their business processes. They want to ensure that they digitally transform and have their processes digitalized. So your point is noted, Prof.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, so can we have the next question?
The next question is, do they have the same life cycle? I think the same person that asks for the difference between data management, information management, records management, document management, asks if they have the same life cycle.
Okay, so now let's quickly look at again at the record life cycle. Okay. Now, record life cycle actually starts from the point of creation. From the point of creation, then to the usage. When you create, use, then you disseminate. Now you create, you use. Maybe during the usage you modify. If you modify it to suit the present needs of your operation, then you move to maintain or protect them, which we talk about. This is when we can talk about security. So yes, it applies to all of them. It applies to all of them. Then disposal of it, because what is not important again can be disposed. But then when it comes to data, in the past we dispose things that we do not need, but data they can almost have everlasting lifetime. And because everywhere is going digital now, we have enough space in the cloud to save them there, because you wouldn't know when you will need them and go back to them. So there's a slight difference there. So that is for it. Then the last part is to archive them, or whether you archive or you destroy them. Whether you archive them permanently or you destroy them permanently. So this is one of the record life cycle. Although it might vary from other organizations, because some other organizations will have some other extension in the record life cycle that is different from this one. But at the end of the day, you still come into the summary of everything: the creation, the usage of the modification, the maintenance of it, or the protection of it, the disposition of it, or the destruction of it, and whether you archive or you preserve that knowledge. So yes, they almost have all. They have the life cycle applies to almost all of them. I don't know if that question is answered. But if we have another question, can we move on to the next?
Yes, another question from Professor Jarrett. How long should medicals be rest?
Come again, sir. There was an interference.
Yeah, how long should medicals be rest? And well, I think the message is not complete. So I guess Prof is actually asking for how long should medical records
be held.
Yeah, and if I would answer that, it would depend on the country or the policy that is in force. For example, in America, there's HIPAA law that, you know, it's Health Insurance Portability Accountability Act. It's a law in the US which mandates that medical records should be kept for like 6 years. But in other clients, it might be different. So it all depends on where we're talking about, the country in particular. So that is what determines records retention. And, you know, this is one very important area when we talk about records and information management, be it physical or electronic, because retention is something that is not all that popular. A lot of countries, most especially in Africa, they don't even have records management policies, talk less of having retention policy. So without retention policy, it's practically impossible to have effective records management. So retention policy is key, it's important, and it helps to determine how long records should be kept. And I think the relevant regulatory agencies, most especially in Nigeria, they've got a lot to do in that space because they need to help their industry. They need to help their industry identify the various documents and records type, and also assign, in line with international best practices, assign relevant retention periods for them. Because without this, information governance becomes a nightmare, because the same different organizations working in the same sector or industry could have different retention policies if the regulatory agencies are not living up to these expectations. So these are some of the things, you know, that we are advocating for at the Institute of Information Management. For us to have data and information governance, it is important for the relevant agencies that are regulating events and activities in various industries to ensure that they're able to help, you know, organizations within their industries, you know, to make records management as seamless for them by establishing the relevant standards, specifications, and processes, you know, that are required. So I think that's, then we have another question. This is coming from, okay, somebody is asking for the slide.
Okay.
They can always, you can send your inquiries to training@iim-africa.org. Then somebody is also asking about me. Akinyemi is asking, what are the tools available for records management and how can it be assessed?
Okay, the tools in terms of soft tools now. Okay, in terms of soft tools now, but it depends on what you are running. Now, in the traditional way, we use Excel. We use Excel to run, and that's the worst way to keep records. So, but then technology has brought in a lot of handles, so which means you need to access some database like most especially SQL. Okay, so one of it is RSSQL. RSSQL is not very common in Nigeria, but because this one is helping you to manage the details of the records you have in your archive, any size, be it small or big. Now, in the case of digital records management, all right, you can have FileHold for example. FileHold is an example of a machine you can deploy, because on FileHold you are able to save so you are able to have your digital archive on FileHold. Okay, you're able to have a digital archive on FileHold, and even more than that, you have access to workflow on the FileHold in terms where you can have project monitoring on the FileHold. Then you can do other activities on FileHold. Say, for example, you need an annotation or you need an approval to a particular document, a particular project. You necessarily don't need to take the file to your line manager physically. Just upload it on FileHold, call his attention to it on the FileHold, and ask him to endorse it. You do the endorsement, and then you can continue your operations. And so it has become similar. So now, like giving out two machines in database, I recommend RSSQL, and then in digital archiving, I'm recommending FileHold. Or there are other tools that we can deploy to help record management. You just have to get what works for us.
So the last question here is also from Andrew John. Please, can you help me how to treat a TJ? TJ is temporary jackets.
Temporary jacket.
So TJ is temporary jacket. Most times we have issues with locating the main file. So officers treat the work on a TJ. So in this case, when the main file is located, how do we treat the TJ? Thank you.
Okay, now, from what I understand is that there is a mother document, and then there is an extract from this mother document to be used for a certain activity immediately. Now, it will be advisable now that once there is no need for the TJ again, the TJ should be scrapped, and this document should be returned back to the mother folder, so that you have a traceability of where to return this into. Now, this is in the case of physical archiving. It's not necessary in digital archiving, because in digital archiving you can always call and then return, call and return. For the digital physical archiving or physical record management now, it is advised that every time that you are done with that TJ, the document you retrieve from the mother file and every other new document that you have generated, you should update the mother file and leave it where it should be. Because tomorrow you are not going to do it, you might not be in the organization. A new person might come, and what you have removed from the mother file to be used in the TJ that you did not return might be tagged as a missing document. So that is how to treat it.
So we have Madam Mary. She's raising up her hand. Can you unmute her and ask your question, please? Madam Mary Govey. Okay, I don't think she's there. Okay, Izuchukwu, you can proceed with the program.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, sir. Thank you very much, everyone who has been in attendance. A very big thank you to our facilitator. And thank you too for our president for stepping in. I just want to, for the purpose of those who have questions, who would like to make requests, please kindly have shared the email you can reach out to training@iim-africa.org for your requests, for questions, whatever follow-up information you'd want to get, kindly reach out to that email address. And before I'd like to also recognize the presence of the members of the Governing Council of the Institute of Information Management, or members of the Executive Council that are here present. Please, in a minute or a second or a few seconds, just unmute yourself and very quickly wish the house well, or just say a very quick greeting to the house, introduce yourself. For all those who are here present, kindly, briefly make a very brief introduction to the house as we round up the activities of this session.
Thank you,
Zuchu.
My name is Ambassador Dr. Yedoku. I'm the President, Chairman of the Executive Council. It's nice to be here. Thank you, everyone, for making our time to be part of this quarter training program. We hope to have a better, more organized session during the last quarter in 2022. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. My name is Ambassador Alexander Mdosi Anago, Executive Council Member for PR Sponsorship with the Institute of Information Management, also a fellow of the Institute. It was also a pleasure to be here with you guys online. Appreciate what you guys.
Professor.
Somebody's speaking. Okay. Thank you so much for what has been done. Thank you, Mr. President, for your presence always. And yeah, for the facilitator, well done. So I wish everyone a safe night's sleep, although it's early morning on my side here. So thank you so much and have a good night rest.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, President. Just before we go, we'll just quickly, just in a few minutes, please, everyone who is here present can turn on their videos so we can take group pictures. Just before we go, everyone who is present.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Mrs. Oyebo. It's nice being here tonight. And this webinar is actually an eye-opening and then a refreshing knowledge-giving session. And I really want to encourage that IIM should keep it up. Thank you so much. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of IIM. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you. We appreciate your presence. Just so I don't miss out on another person who is supposed to quickly greet the house. I hope there's no one else. If there's anyone else, quickly unmute and just say hello to the house. Thank you. Okay, let's all turn on our videos for the group photograph before we call it a day, or before we call it a night.
Done.
Okay. I believe the pictures are being taken.
Picture has been taken. Good
Okay.
night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everyone that made our time to be here. Please remember to reach us out on the email that's been provided. Reach out to us on the email that's been provided. Thank you and have a good night's rest, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night, sir.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, good night, everyone.
Good night to you all.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank you very much.